Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and Arman here from the Block Runner, Betazone, Roby, and Mscribe. Today, we got some DMT updates.
Sure do. All right, dude. So before we get started,
Yep.
let's talk some DMT, dude.
As we do.
Well, just assuming like there's some newbies out there, like let's do a quick little rundown of what it is, this DMT thing, because maybe you just recently heard Casey Rodimer say it's complete garbage recently, as he said. You know. So you're wondering, you're trying to do your individual due diligence, like, damn, is it actually garbage? I see people in the comments saying it's not that bad. So what actually is it,
Yeah, so DMT is definitely not the drug.
Oh, that's true. We got to make that distinguishment too.
Yeah, it's funny.
We're not talking about.
We posted somewhere like Twitter or whatever it is. We posted, and there's every now and then there's like a comment saying, "It's like, you know what? I tried the drug. It's actually not that bad."
I think those are bots or something. It's weird when you type in DMT in a tweet.
Yeah,
you get these like bots, or it's like, I know where to get some, stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Like people trying to dark web.
Yeah.
Sell some of this, disperse some of this psychoactive substance, So we're talking about a different type of substance.
Yeah, we are.
Digital substance.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, we're not advocating for any mind altering things. That's not what this channel's about.
Definitely not. But DMT stands for digital matter theory.
Yeah.
And it's a concept where it's a name that we gave the ability to recognize patterns. And that pattern recognition has been happening for hundreds of thousands of years, is largely why we're still here, because sharp teeth as a pattern is probably a good thing to stay away from, right? If we didn't recognize it as a pattern, we'd probably be not here, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So then apply pattern recognition on Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden you have a non-arbitrary way to discover a supply of a token, for example.
Yeah, so you're referring to the non-arbitrary token framework. That is something we created and released along with like the shared understanding of DMT, right? So there's many ways to interpret block data, as we've seen. Doesn't have to be a non-arbitrary token.
Yeah.
It could be what Erin, Casey Rodimer's bestie, what she's attempting to do, right? Like, hey, I understand the value of block time, right? These are sequence of events that can be correlated to physical events, right? Because digital time, physical time, what's going on in the cosmos around then, right? There's astrological positioning. So I want to package this into an ordinal.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool. That's like a DMT thing from our perspective, right? That is exactly what we're talking about. So
like I said, it's not that bad.
It doesn't seem to be that bad, right? So why not align this this belief, this understanding, like this is truly something new and valuable that blockchain and crypto and Web3 can offer, right? So
this is natively something new to crypto. There hasn't been a harnessing of block data in this way before.
Correct. Yeah, so that's why we label Bitcoin as like the ultimate substrate layer now. As long as you apply these principles, right? And so this line of thinking was introduced about 8 months ago, with the NAT token.
November 20th, 2023.
Yeah, so the NAT token was the first example of digital matter creation.
Yeah, and so before this, it was Bitmap, and Bitmap took about, let's say, a month to block out.
Yeah, so Bitmap was actually the first, right?
And that blocked out on June 30th, and
Correct.
Then we released the DMT framework and launched the first token called NAT.
Yeah, first fungible token.
Yeah, so Bitmap was a non-fungible token to represent block data, and then NAT was a fungible token, and that blocked out in a week.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history if you actually truly are new. So we have a whole playlist you guys can kind of digest. So, all right, let's fast forward to today's time. So 8 months ago, it all started, but so what's going on today?
Yeah, so we have a tweet here by Leather, and they're talking about Stacks Invaders.
Yeah.
And so this was inspired by the 80s arcade game, and it's essentially harnessing the concept of DMTs.
And if you don't know what Stacks is, this is a layer 2 to Bitcoin, right? So this is the first time we've seen... Well, DMT has its presence on Doginals, remember?
Yeah.
They've extracted the data set over there and created their own UNATs.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stacks, this is a whole new new participant into this new model, right? So this is kind of what we were expecting and hoping for, is to see other chains adopt DMT, other developers, creators, whatever.
Yeah, so here they are sort of breaking down what DMT provides an immutable and decentralized way of managing digital art. And we're going to leave all the links in the description, but definitely must-read breakdown of Stacks Invaders.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing absolutely, if you go into Gamma, you could see it's one of the more like lively Stacks collections. I wonder why, dude. I wonder if it has anything to do with like the injection of this newness, right? This vertical of something interesting in comparison to all the other collections on that market.
Yeah, so the reason why we say specifically new is because our thesis is in crypto, once you introduce something actually and absolutely new, like back in the day in Ethereum where Uniswap introduced something new called DEX, a decentralized exchange.
Well, more specifically, the automated market maker.
Well, automated market making.
And liquidity pools. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff was new before there's like a before and after. Right.
True.
There's before a DEX and then after a DEX.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Before there was arbitrary tokens, and then after there's non-arbitrary tokens.
Yeah.
And so, so the thesis is that when you introduce something new, that a lot of interest follows it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, people get bored quickly, I guess, in this space. Right.
Right.
I mean, because it's kind of. It's one of those things like the Web3 ecosystem doesn't really have like a pulse on exactly what it is it's attempting to achieve collectively.
Definitely does not.
Back in the day,
like 2017,
there was definitely a pulse of like we all are collectively trying to like, topple traditional finance.
Change the world.
Yeah, just improve humanity. It's to some degree, right? Through the leveraging of like community and tokenized incentives and all this shit.
It's just a website for the most part.
Yeah. But that mission ethos has kind of like been lost, and now it's like, all right, I guess the purpose is just to make funny stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Launch memes,
whether it's a ticker or an image, but so nonetheless, that's why these new things are important, right? Because now we have new tools and new options as far as like discovering new purpose, right?
Yes,
which is I think tremendously valuable, right? Which is why we've introduced it, and we're aggregating this ecosystem around it of new developers and creators and such. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys did this completely independently, right? Like they just enjoyed the premise and like applied it to an entire new blockchain.
Yeah, correct.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So then what are the metrics? Like what's been happening and like how does it stack up? Yeah. So we got a good tweet here by Beto. He says, "Do you like collecting DMT NFTs like I do? How many of these projects do you own?" And here's the breakdown. Here's like the current market cap and the all-time high market cap.
Yeah.
So Bitmap, of course, the first non-arbitrary token, right? This just so happens to not be under the framework just because it was so early. But then we have everything else here using the framework. We have NatCats currently at 6.9 million. All-time high was 75 million.
Yeah, remember, these are all, most of them were pretty much freely minted, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Like performance-wise, entertainment performance-wise. I mean, this is why you seek out these types of sectors of newness, right? Because you don't get opportunities like that chasing like already saturated like ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
For example, it's gonna be. I mean, I applaud all you brave, pioneers out there trying to make bets on like L2s and stuff like that. It's gonna. I mean, it's going to be tough to like really try and predict, which of these going to be actual hubs of, true value.
Right.
Right. Why? Because I mean, it's a saturated space. There's plenty of them. Right.
Yeah.
What distinguishes between them? Not much, other than like, who's got the better marketing department and the better like biz dev teams, to be honest.
Yeah. That's it. Right? They're largely using similar tech.
Similar tech. Yeah. Like as far as user experience stuff, you're not going to experience much difference between them. So trying to predict, like if that's your sector of interest, good luck, right? So that's why we as a channel, we always seek new things. That's why we found Potensor super early.
Potensor, Bitmap.
Shout out Potensor because now Chamath supports it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, if you don't know who Chamath is, he was only talking about Bitcoin in 2010.
Yeah, so at some point we'll have to revisit the AI sector just out of pure curiosity.
2010, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
publicly in 2010. He wasn't just like whispering it around with his friends.
Yeah, he was calling $1 million Bitcoin back then. Like, this is for sure going to be $1 million one day. What a fucking bold prediction. Right?
Literally the only one saying that.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah. That's to us, that was new and interesting. There's opportunity there. Then, yeah, bitmaps, ordinals in general.
Yeah.
And now DMT. This is actually genuinely the new stuff and very interesting and obviously super undervalued if you just look at these collective market caps, right?
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got an Mscribe tweet.
Oh, yeah. Remember we did a Twitter space a couple days ago.
That's right.
So I just wanted to remind everyone because it was pretty like spur of the moment, right? So we didn't announce it or anything. So I'm sure a lot of you guys missed it. There's a link going to be in the description here to check it out. But it was good.
Yeah.
I appreciate all you guys who came with like interesting questions.
Yeah. So, so the Twitter space was like an hour and 20 minutes long, hour and a half. It was very interesting. There was a lot of good questions, and there was a lot more focus on like the future of DMT.
Yeah.
And DMT can be utilized in outside of Bitcoin, which is
that was one of the more interesting things. So I guess the sentiment is like, okay, DMT is provably something something unless you're, Casey.
Yeah. Casey's the only one who doesn't think it's interesting.
But others do, right? So, we're seeing cool things being created, UNATs. Pretty soon we're going to have deployable assets on Bitmap, right? So people are asking, what's next? How exactly can people integrate more DMT, activity or value within the Bitmap ecosystem and stuff? So that's what got us talking about block drops, right?
Yeah, and we're going to show you what that would look like here pretty soon.
Yeah, because that really is like the next major ecosystem like milestone.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, moving on. We got a tweet from DMT Ninja. So due to an overwhelming number of last-minute whitelist applications, we have decided to move the mint date to give everyone a fair chance to participate. So DMT Ninjas going to be minting here very soon, and the way to get in is to mint a Nat Snow, which is very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, it's an ongoing mint on the block pad on Mscribe.
That's right.
And if you're not aware, this is like an entire ecosystem in construction. So let's take a look at this badass website. Dude.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
So what you're minting here is like this particular art here. And so what's fascinating is like they decided to tie like two mints together, and one gives you access to this, and this is like the main event here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is incredibly competent art right here. Look at that. There's even Bitmap.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Bitmap Emporium, right? Where there's like some Bitmap flair sprinkled throughout, and of course, like just the artwork itself. If this is your sector of art that you appreciate, I would qualify this as very, very good.
And I think the artist here is like it's like an industry artist from like, I can't remember, like a game development company or like Sega or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, this is a big deal.
Yeah. All the links are in the description for sure. Check it out. Check out the website. They have docs here. You can get a little bit more detailed about how DMT ninjas are, leveraging the frameworks of DMT to generate these attributes of the collection itself, which that is a new stuff, right? It's a new way of generating digital assets.
Yeah.
In comparison to how things traditionally do it very arbitrarily, right? We're routing everything to blocked information to generate these things.
Yeah. Block creation.
Yeah, so if this is your first mint, it's confusing at first because, anything new is. So it's a bit of a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody typically has like well-established docs to kind of explain everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So dive deep into that for sure.
So another mint happening is NatGoblins. So this one's happening in the next couple of weeks. I think before the August 4th.
Okay.
So maybe I think it's next week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, another website you can kind of dive into and, appreciate more what the collection's about. So these are both keep your eyes open on the Blockpad and Mscribe's Twitter account over the next couple of weeks because, we'll be announcing these projects and when they're going to actually go live, phase details and such. And then after that, other projects will be starting to, I think, begin their campaigns like, Foxy's Bitminer, Natomons, and Heroes. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon. So speaking of Mscribe, we got some updates, right?
Yeah. So take a look here. So we were talking about block drops earlier, and people were asking, well, how's it going to work? How do you actually inscribe this? And so the whole idea is that a block drop is in the same sort of like realm of like an airdrop, except you're block dropping to specific asset owners. And the way that you acquire this block drop is you have to hold the underlying asset, and then you inscribe a child inscription from that parent asset.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. So part of this like development is you'll be able to, as a creator, you could block drop assets to mCrown holders or NatCat holders or Royal holders or any of these like assets, and then the holders of those assets can inscribe these child inscriptions from their parent asset.
Okay.
And so how does that look like? So let's say you're looking at your inscription. This is the details page of your inscription. And so here are the details, and here's the child inscription that shows me that I've already inscribed a block drop. So here it is. But how do you actually see what block drops have occurred to your asset? So there's a block drop tab, and here are the different block drops that have occurred. There's NAT, SSL, NVM, BMT, and then here it's just an indicator of these two have been claimed.
Yeah.
And to claim these other ones, these are unclaimed. You click on that, and then all of a sudden, it'll give you a mint progress, available supply, circulating supply, and then you go and mint it. And so this is a two-step process, right? Because the parent-child structure on ordinals requires two transactions. You have to submit the underlying commit transaction, and then you have to send the parent as well. So that way, when you create a child inscription, the first output of a Bitcoin transaction needs to be the parent output, needs to be the parent inscription.
Okay.
And then the child inscription is the second inscription of the output.
Gotcha.
And so then you send out your parent, it comes back to you, and then you complete the transaction. All of a sudden, you have your parent and you have your child, and they're in your wallet.
You got two assets now.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, this is all, again, in addition to the open framework, right? So
yeah.
This is a big deal because now anybody has access to these tools and, again, can start to expand the value premise of any ecosystem built within the DMT space.
Yeah,
right?
so we're talking about specifically a DMT asset here, but you'll be able to block drop to bitmaps.
Yeah, and if you go rewind to our videos from probably about, I'd say, a year ago.
Yeah.
It's taken about a year of, development and, progress with the tap infrastructure and stuff. A lot of things, a lot of components that went into this.
Yeah.
To finally get to the point where we're going to have a legitimate digital commodities era native to Bitmap, right? Which is a tremendous need for the ecosystem.
Yeah. Speaking about things that are new, a block drop is new.
Yes.
This has not been done before either.
Yeah. So now it's time for people who are developing, on Bitmap, building their own ecosystems, games, whatever, to start considering this new tool into your design, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the implications of a block drop, though.
Yeah.
Well, so one thing that I don't think we've mentioned is you can still use priv authority, so privilege authorization for a block drop. So let's just say I decide to do a block drop to Bitmap, right? And it's a tree, right? It's just like a dynamically generated tree, right? 3D structure that you can deploy on your Bitmap, right? Sounds cool, right?
That sounds cool.
It could produce apples, right?
Fuck
potentially.
Yeah. Or out of Xboxes. Why not?
Whatever.
It's the metaverse, dude.
Yeah, anything.
Okay.
And so I could say, for this tree, I'm going to charge $2.
Yeah.
Right? And so anyone who decides to inscribe this, they'll have to pay the $2 to the creator. And then all of a sudden you get your tree, you can deploy on your Bitmap, and you can enjoy the apples and Xboxes it produces.
It's a perfect recipe for a good day, dude.
Yeah.
Apples
it's the
and
best
Xboxes. Day. Yeah, that is the best day. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So this is the distribution mechanism for all types of content in the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
So you get to design, what are the the non-arbitrary parameters to who's going to have access to this. You want this to be a truly scarce commodity. That's going to be much more possible once we introduce the upcoming data fields.
Right.
Where they're much more flexible and dynamic, and as far as how you can how you can kind of predict emission outcomes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Not only that, but only some bitmaps can inscribe that because
Exactly.
that pattern exists in some bitmaps and not others.
Yeah, which is a big deal. Now you have potential incentives for parcelization and such. So that's probably a little bit more down the road, where we can get the parcels factored into like this
block drop mechanic.
Yeah, because that requires more work. Right?
Significant amount of work.
Yeah, but nonetheless, this is how you get things begun. Again, it's a new distribution mechanism. It's, I think, direly needed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so just going just one level deeper in terms of the implication is, so you have these trees, right? Every bitmap can get a tree, right? But what if some bitmap owners decide not to inscribe a tree?
Yeah.
Right? And so the potential of that tree existing within your bitmap is still there. And it's still there whether we exist or not, right?
Correct.
And so now, like from a secondary perspective, that bitmap probably is a little bit more valuable, right? Because there's a tree that has not been claimed.
I would think so.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now imagine if you're part of the bitmap community, it's like, well, that means I can contribute to the value proposition of a bitmap, right? By creating these block drops.
Yes.
So now you're creating these PFP projects, you're creating, houses as deployable assets, you're deploying all kinds of as block drops, and then it's up to the bitmap community to say, you know what, I wanna support this guy building a house. I'm gonna inscribe this block drop. I'm gonna deploy his house as dynamically generated house on top of my bitmap.
Correct.
And but I'm not gonna support this other guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's but it's still embedded within your bitmap. And so if you sell the bitmap, you sell along with the unclaimed assets.
Yeah. So this is what everybody's been desperately dreaming about for a long time now, right? It's like I can actually, the innate value of whatever the data that exists within my bitmap, whether it can produce something of tangibly something very scarce and rare, depending on like the deployment itself, right?
Like digital commodities, like if let's say you deploy a diamond that doesn't exist on every bitmap. Some bitmaps have it because you have that pattern inherent within your bitmap data set, right?
Correct. It's just a UNAT. You could deploy a whole range of like just commodities.
Yeah.
So within that, like obviously the most rare can be diamond. So I mean, and the script to generate that is, and whether or not your bitmap block has the data to generate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's non-arbitrary. So you either have it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
You don't know it today, but tomorrow you might actually have it and have the ability to claim that. And this is what introduces new market dynamics, right? To the overall economy of Bitcoin.
Yeah, and we say diamond, but let's get creative here. We could do adamantium and
even that's not creative enough.
Unobtainium.
Super not creative. Let's think of new words, please. Yeah. Like new commodities of value other than like these rock-like substances.
Yeah.
Right?
Could be anything.
It's the fucking metaverse, dude. Let's get crazy with it.
Yeah. And that's the point of this is like we have to create frameworks for this to work. You cannot do this without a framework, right? You can't just like arbitrarily just like think of things and just like have people inscribe them as children without the framework, without this indexing, capability that we have with Track, right? These are very important stuff that needs to be done, right? That's why these things take a while.
100%. So yeah, man, we're there. Thank God we're not there, but we're pretty close to like
we're getting there.
We're in we've been in the non-arbitrary era, but now we're going to be in the actual digital commodities era pretty soon.
Yeah, dude, that's exciting, man.
It's exciting.
All right, well, if you have any questions about DMT, block drops, digital commodities, trees with Xboxes, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.